Have you ever found yourself lying awake at 2 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, feeling completely exhausted, but your mind just won't shut up? Your body is heavy. Your eyes are burning. Every physical signal is screaming for sleep. But there's this other part of you, this quiet, relentless voice in your head, just pacing back and forth, replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, or worrying about a meeting next Tuesday. In those moments, it feels incredibly real. It feels like there are two of you. There's a physical you, the body lying in bed, and then there's the mental you, the consciousness trapped inside, totally disconnected from the physical exhaustion. You almost want to reach up, open your own skull, and tell that voice to just sit down and be quiet. We have all felt this. That deep, exhausting sense of being divided. The feeling that you are a passenger riding inside a vehicle, constantly having to negotiate with the machinery. We treat our minds like a separate entity that we have to manage, optimize, discipline, or fix. When we fail to focus, we say our mind is wandering. When we feel sad, we say our mind is heavy. We talk about our brains and our minds as if they are roommates who constantly disagree. But what if I told you that this split, this profound feeling of being divided against yourself, isn't actually a deep spiritual truth? What if the war you feel inside your own head isn't a fundamental reality of human nature, but rather just a glitch, a typo in the way we speak and think? Today, we are going to look at a fascinating piece of research that completely flips the script on how we understand human consciousness. It is a deep dive into philosophy, linguistics, and logic, but I promise you, it is not just academic theory. It is profoundly personal. Because once you understand how this illusion is built, you can finally stop fighting yourself. For over 300 years, ever since a philosopher named René Descartes popularized the idea, we have been operating under a very specific assumption. Descartes suggested that the universe is made of two completely different things. There is physical matter, which takes up space and follows the rules of mechanics. And then there is the mind, the soul, consciousness, which is non-physical and entirely separate. This is the famous ghost in the machine. And whether you realize it or not, this idea has completely hijacked our modern culture. It is the reason we talk about mind-body connections as if they are two separate systems trying to shake hands. It is the reason we feel alienated from our own bodies. We inherited this framework, and we just accepted it as a default setting of reality. But the research we are exploring today asks a very dangerous, very liberating question. What if the ghost was never in the machine to begin with? What if the only reason we believe in this split is because of the hidden architecture of the language we speak and the rigid logic we use to make sense of the world? Let us break this down, because it is actually quite beautiful when you see it. Think about the language you use every day. We speak in structures built on subjects and predicates, nouns and verbs. If there is an action, our grammar demands that there must be a thing doing the action. If there's thinking, there must be a thinker. If there's feeling, there must be a feeler. But nature does not always work like that. Think about lightning. We say, the lightning flashes. But the lightning is not a separate entity that performs the action of flashing. The lightning is the flash. The noun and the verb are the exact same event. There is no hidden substance behind the flash. Yet, when it comes to human experience, we say, I am thinking, and because our grammar demands a noun for the action of thinking, we invent one. We call it the mind. We reify it. We turn a process into a thing. And then, once we have created this imaginary thing called the mind, we spend the rest of our lives wondering how it connects to the physical brain. We create a massive, agonizing philosophical problem. The famous hard problem of consciousness. simply because our grammar tricked us into creating a phantom. We mistake the grammatical form of our language for the actual structure of reality. We look at the word mind, and because it is a noun, we assume it must be an object, but it is not an object. It is a placeholder for a highly complex, deeply embodied process of living, breathing, and interacting with the world. And this linguistic trap is made infinitely worse by the way we process logic. We are taught to think in strict black and white terms. Classical logic tells us that a statement must be either true or false. A thing must either be physical or it must be mental. It is either A or it is not A. There is no middle ground in this rigid framework. So, when we look at human experience through the strict, bivalent lens, we are forced into a corner. If a thought is not made of physical atoms, logic dictates it must be made of something else entirely. It forces a bifurcation. It forces a split. The rigidity of the mind-body divide is not a discovery about the universe. It is just a direct reflection of the rigidity of the black and white logic we use to conceptualize it. We are using a tool that is fundamentally incapable of capturing the nuance of reality. And then we are shocked when the picture it paints looks fractured. But here is where the story shifts. Here is where the turning point happens, and where this research stops being just an interesting academic critique and becomes a tool for your own peace of mind. Because once you realize that the division inside you is a construct of language and rigid logic, you can start to dismantle it. You can step out of the trap. The researchers point out that we do not need to solve the mind-body problem. We need to dissolve it. And we do that by changing how we look at our own experience. We stop treating our consciousness as a hidden, private object locked inside a bone vault, and we start recognizing it for what it actually is, a continuous, fluid, deeply embedded process of engaging with the world. Think about the sheer relief in that realization. If your mind is not a separate, fragile object that you have to constantly protect, manage, and fix, then you can finally drop the rope. You can stop treating your thoughts like unruly pets that need to be put in a cage. You can stop viewing your anxiety or your sadness as a mechanical failure in the ghost in the machine. When you stop viewing your consciousness as a separate entity, the anxiety loses its grip. The endless loop of 2 a.m. worry starts to unravel because you realize there is no separate manager in your head pulling the levers. There is just you, the whole, unified, breathing, feeling you. The body and the experience are not two things negotiating a treaty. They are one continuous spectrum of reality. This is where the philosophy meets the pavement. This is how you actually take this profound shift in perspective and apply it to your daily life, without it just sounding like a nice, abstract idea. The first step is simply to start noticing the language you use with yourself. When you catch yourself saying, "My brain is making me anxious," or "My mind won't let me focus," pause for a second. Notice how you are splitting yourself into a subject and an object. Notice how you are treating your experience as a thing that is happening to you, rather than an expression of who you are. You do not have to forcefully change the words. Just notice the grammatical trick. Remind yourself that you are not a passenger in your head. You are the entire event. When you feel tired, it is not your body failing your mind. It is a whole organism signaling a need for rest. When you feel joy, it is not your mind reacting to the body. It is a unified experience of being alive in that moment. By simply softening the language, you soften the internal division. The second practical shift is to embrace the continuum. We spend so much of our lives trapped in that rigid black and white logic. I am either productive or I am lazy. My mind is either fixed or it is broken. I am either happy or I am depressed. But reality, as the researchers remind us through the lens of non-classical, fuzzy logic, is not binary. It is a spectrum. It is overlapping sets with varying degrees of truth. When you feel stuck, you are not failing a binary test. You are just existing somewhere on a complex, fluid continuum of energy, focus, and emotion. Give yourself the grace to exist in the gray areas. Stop demanding that your internal world conform to strict either-or categories. When you allow your experience to be fuzzy, to be nuanced, to be a mixture of 100 different subtle states all at once, the pressure to fix yourself evaporates. You stop trying to force a square peg into a round hole because you finally realize that both the peg and the hole are just illusions. And perhaps the most profound takeaway is how this changes the way we view our struggles. We have been taught that the hard parts of being human, the confusion, the emotional pain, the feeling of being lost, are evidence that something is wrong with our machinery. But what if those struggles are just a natural friction of a complex, embodied process navigating a chaotic world? When you stop viewing your mind as a separate, fragile object, you stop taking your struggles so personally. You stop thinking that your anxiety means your ghost is malfunctioning. You start to see your emotional pain not as a mechanical failure, but as a deeply human, entirely natural response to the environment. It shifts you from a place of self-criticism to a place of deep, radical self-compassion. We live in a world that is obsessed with optimization. We are constantly told to hack our brains, to optimize our minds, to treat our bodies like vehicles that need to be tuned so the driver can perform better. We are selling you solutions to a problem that was created by a grammatical error. But you do not need to be optimized. You do not need to be fixed, because there is no broken machine and there is no trapped ghost. There is only the beautiful, messy, continuous reality of your existence. The next time you find yourself lying awake at 2 a.m, feeling that familiar sense of division, feeling like you are at war with your own head, I want you to try something different. Do not try to force the mind to sleep. Do not try to wrestle the ghost back into the machine. Instead, just notice the illusion. Feel the weight of your body. Feel the rhythm of your breath. Recognize that the voice in your head is not a separate entity demanding your attention. It is just a ripple on the surface of the very same water. You are not divided. You never were. The architecture of division was just a story we were told, a story written in the rigid lines of old logic and the heavy nouns of ancient grammar. But you are not bound by that story. You can put the pen down. You can step out of the trap. And in that quiet realization, in the space where the war used to be, you might just find the peace you've been looking for all along. Not the peace of a machine finally running perfectly, but the peace of a human being, finally whole.